Hey there, deep dive listener. Ever feel like your PMO is stuck? Like it's churning out process after process instead of like real tangible value?
Hmm.
Well, that's what we're diving into today with the PMO practice guide.
Oh, yeah.
And trust me, this isn't some like dusty old manual.
Right.
This guide is all about ditching that one size fits all approach
Yeah.
and building a PMO that is laser focused on delivering actual results.
You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Really?
This guide is like a breath of fresh air for PMOs
Okay.
because it's all about understanding your stakeholders
Mm.
and becoming a trusted advisor,
Right.
not just the project rule enforcer.
Yeah, that's music to my ears. We're talking about proving how your PMO directly impacts the bottom line. It's about showing your PMO's worth, not just saying it is and hoping for the best. Imagine being able to say, hey, our PMO saved the company millions, or we launched this awesome new product line because of our PMO.
Okay, that's huge.
It is.
It's like PMOs are finally getting invited to the big leagues. No more back office blues for them. But then, just when you thought things couldn't get any more interesting, the Project Management Institute,
PMI.
PMI, right? They're like the big dogs, right, of project management. They decided to make a grand entrance.
Yeah.
December 2023, PMI did something pretty major. They acquired PMOG.
Wow. That's huge, right?
It's like they saw the future of project management and it had
Yeah.
PMO written all over
They
it.
saw which way the wind was blowing.
Exactly. And you know what's even cooler? They didn't just acquire them and then, shut everything down.
Right.
They basically said, here's the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah. PMI made PMOB their official PMO community.
But now,
But now,
it's like they strapped a rocket booster to this whole PMO value ring thing, right?
totally. So we were talking about the PMO value ring being like this secret weapon.
Right.
PMI took that weapon and said, you know what? We need a whole arsenal.
An arsenal of PMO goodness.
Exactly. And that's what this PMO practice guide is. It's like the ultimate playbook.
Hold on. PMI has never had like a dedicated PMO practice guide before, have they?
Nope. This is the first one.
That's a big deal.
Oh, it's huge. Game changer.
So what's in this guide? What makes it so special?
Well, they've taken all of PMI's expertise, right? Decades of project management knowledge, and they've combined it with all of those amazing insights that Kiamoja brought to the table.
The real world stuff.
Exactly. So if you want to level up your PMO, this guide is it. It's your new best friend.
I love it.
Okay, so PMOs, everyone's heard of them, right? They're supposed to help manage projects, make things run smoother. But honestly, I've got to say, sometimes dealing with a PMO feels like running into a brick wall, all about process, not always so much about the actual goal.
Yeah, I can see that.
But what if I told you there's a way PMOs could actually become invaluable? Not the folks you try to avoid, but actual strategic partners.
That's exactly what this guide we're diving into argues. Pretty radical, actually. Calls PMOs value-driven service providers. Service providers. Can you believe that?
Seriously, that's a whole different way of thinking about it.
Totally reframing the image. Instead of just, like you said, enforcing the rules, they become the secret weapon to ensure projects actually hit those big goals, actually deliver.
So for our listener who's maybe squeezing this in between meetings,
Yeah.
what's the one aha moment that should make them want to dive deeper?
You know what really struck me?
Yeah.
Is how much PMOs have transformed.
Okay.
We think of them as these, recent additions to organizations.
Yeah.
But this guide actually takes us all the way back to their origins in the 1980s.
Wow.
And back then, they were all about control.
Really?
Almost like Project Police.
Project Police. Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, that paints quite a picture.
Yeah.
No wonder PMOs get a bad rap sometimes.
Right.
So how did we go from Project Police to the strategic partners?
It's been an evolution.
Yeah.
The guide calls that initial phase the control era,
Okay.
where it was all about standardized processes and compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Big mountains of paperwork.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. So what changed?
Well, the 90s brought about this shift towards methodologies.
Okay.
It was the hunt for the perfect project management system.
Oh, yeah.
Remember being buried in templates, everyone chasing certifications.
Mhm.
It was all about the how of project management,
Right.
not always connecting it back to the why of the organization.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the how and then lose sight of the bigger picture.
Exactly.
So when did PMOs start focusing on delivering real, tangible value?
That's a good question. And the guide actually points to the 2000s as a turning point.
Okay.
because PMOs started to realize they couldn't just be process enforcers.
Right.
They had to actually align with organizational goals,
Yeah.
become more strategic.
It's like they finally realized they needed to earn their seat at the table.
Yeah.
It's not just demand it.
Yes.
But it's not enough to just be valuable, right? You have to prove it.
100%.
And that's what this guide really emphasizes.
And that's what sets this guide apart.
Okay.
It doesn't just talk about value in theory.
Yeah.
It gives you an actual framework for delivering and demonstrating that value.
I love frameworks.
And it even uses a really interesting analogy of comparing different organizational scenarios to stages of plant growth.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
You could have fertile ground where a PMO can thrive, or you can be in a crisis where things are wilting.
Right.
Have you ever walked into an organization and felt like the PMO was on life support?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I've definitely walked into a few situations where
Yeah.
it felt like the PMO was on its last legs,
Yeah.
just barely clinging to life.
Yeah. It's like walking into a jungle, but instead of lush greenery,
Right.
it's just overgrown processes and like tangled communication lines.
Yeah, it's like a jungle of red tape and bureaucracy,
Oh my gosh.
you know. And the PMO is buried under a mountain of paperwork,
Yeah.
completely disconnected from what the organization actually needs.
Yeah. Wow.
They're just in survival mode at that point,
Yeah.
not thriving.
It's like a classic case of a PMO that's totally lost its way. Makes you wonder, like, how can you even tell if a PMO is on the right path, you know?
Right.
Success or headed for disaster.
Yeah, are there warning signs?
Yeah, like, are there warning signs? This guide must have some insights.
It does. It actually lays out some really clear warning signs.
Okay.
Like, for example, remember that crisis scenario we were talking about? You might see things like waning executive support.
Okay.
You know, projects are consistently missing the mark, or even high turnover within the PMO team itself.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are definitely red flags.
Yeah.
It's like a relationship. You can just feel it when things are off.
Exactly.
But what I love about this guide is it doesn't just leave you hanging with a warning label, right?
Right.
It actually gives you tools to turn things around.
Exactly. And it gives you hope.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually fix this.
Yeah.
And one of the most powerful tools it gives you is this thing called the PMO value ring.
Okay, we've mentioned the PMO value ring a few times now.
Right.
For our listeners who are just tuning in,
Yeah.
can you break down what that is? Like, what makes it so special?
Okay, so imagine a flywheel,
Yep.
that heavy wheel you might have seen on like an old steam engine.
Got it.
It takes effort to get it moving, but once it gains momentum,
Yeah.
it practically spins itself,
Okay.
generating power with every rotation.
Mm-hmm.
The PMO value ring is kind of built on that same principle.
Okay.
It's this cycle of 10 interconnected steps.
Wow. 10 steps.
I know, right? But they all build on each other
Okay.
to create this self-sustaining loop of value creation.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Because it makes it sound like it's not just about doing a few things right.
Right.
It's about creating a system
Yes.
that continuously generates value for the organization.
Exactly. You're not just putting out fires anymore.
Yeah.
You're building something that lasts.
So where do you even start with this whole PMO value ring thing?
So it starts with awareness, building awareness of your PMO's purpose.
Got it.
Then you move into understanding your customer needs.
Okay.
And I don't just mean assuming you know what they want.
Right.
You have to really dig deep.
Really get in there.
Exactly.
It reminds me of that saying, like, you don't know what you don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you can't deliver value if you haven't taken the time to really understand what those stakeholders need.
That's so true. And that's where the guide gets really practical.
Okay, how so?
It provides you with this tool called the PMO Customer Expectation Assessment.
Okay, the PMO Customer Expectation Assessment.
Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's basically a set of questions that you can ask your stakeholders
Okay,
to help you uncover those needs.
they're pain points.
Exactly. Their pain points, their desired outcomes.
Even those hidden expectations?
Yes.
Yep.
Sometimes they don't even realize they have these expectations.
It's like you're handing them a mirror
Oh, I like that.
and saying, tell me what you see.
Yeah,
What do you need to be successful?
exactly. Because you're not a mind reader,
Right.
and you shouldn't have to be.
Exactly.
So once you have that clear understanding of your customers,
Yeah.
then you can move on to crafting a really compelling value proposition.
Okay, so this is where you translate those needs into like a clear statement of
Exactly.
how your PMO delivers.
This is where you really get to showcase the value of the PMO.
It's like your PMO's what's in it for me statement.
Exactly. You're essentially saying,
Yeah.
this is the value we bring to the table.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to make your life easier
Mm.
and your projects more successful.
So much better than just saying, because I said so,
Oh, yeah. So much better.
which nobody likes to hear.
Nobody likes to hear that.
And then what?
Well, then you get to actually develop those services that deliver on those promises.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, this is where the magic happens.
It's not enough to just talk about value. You have to build it.
Exactly. Talk is cheap, right?
Right.
You have to actually deliver.
So what are some examples of services that a PMO might offer based on this framework?
It could be anything from providing portfolio management support,
Okay.
risk assessment,
Mm-hmm.
coaching and mentoring, to project managers.
Okay.
It could even involve implementing new project management software
Oh, wow.
or developing standardized templates and processes.
So it's not just about those traditional PMO functions?
No, it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
It's about being flexible and adaptable to the specific needs of the organization.
It's about meeting your customers where they are?
100%.
Right.
That's it.
It's like you can lead a horse to water,
Right.
but you can't make it drink.
Exactly.
Some teams might just need a little nudge in the right direction.
Yeah. Little guidance.
And others might need more intensive support.
Absolutely. And again, the guide actually dives into that.
Okay.
It introduces this concept of PMO service maturity.
Okay. PMO service maturity. Break that down for us.
All right. So think of it like levels in a video game.
I love video games.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay. So you start at level 1,
Okay.
where you're just beginning to offer a particular service,
Okay.
maybe in a really basic way.
Got it.
Then as you gain experience and refine your approach, you level up
You level up.
all the way to level 5,
All right.
where you're basically a PMO superhero.
I love it.
Yeah,
So a level 1 PMO is like still figuring out how to crawl.
pretty much.
And a level 5 PMO is out there like running marathons
Yeah.
and leaping tall buildings in a single bound.
They're like the elite athletes of the PMO world.
I love it.
And the guide actually breaks it down. It
Okay.
gives you different maturity levels
Okay.
for a whole range of PMO services,
Like what?
from portfolio and risk management
Right.
to things like coaching, mentoring,
Mm-hmm.
and even data analytics.
Data analytics.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that as like a core PMO function.
It's becoming more and more important,
Okay.
especially as organizations are becoming more data-driven.
Right.
A mature PMO can play a key role in analyzing
Okay.
and interpreting that project data.
To make better decisions.
Exactly, to help inform decision-making and improve project outcomes.
So it's not just about managing projects anymore. It's about using data to drive strategic insights
Yeah.
and make better decisions across the board.
That's next-level PMO stuff.
It is.
Love
But the key takeaway here
Okay.
is that PMO maturity isn't like a destination.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
And this guide gives you a roadmap
It's like a roadmap.
for navigating that journey,
Okay.
helping you assess your current maturity level
Mm-hmm.
and identify those areas where you can level up.
Okay, so we've talked about understanding your customer needs,
Yes.
crafting that value proposition,
Yes.
developing services, assessing your PMO's maturity level.
There's more to the PMO value ring, though, right?
There is so much more to explore.
Okay.
It doesn't just stop at developing your services.
Okay.
It guides you through this entire life cycle
Okay.
of delivering and demonstrating that value.
Oh, wow. Okay.
From onboarding your customers to monitoring your performance,
Mm-hmm.
making improvements, and ultimately achieving recognition for the impact you're making.
It's a holistic approach to PMO success.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not enough to just do the work. You have to make sure that it's noticed.
And appreciated.
And appreciated, yeah.
Yes, shout it from the rooftop.
That's where the flywheel effect really kicks in.
Exactly.
Because as you go through each cycle of the PMO value ring, you're gathering more data, you're receiving feedback,
Right.
and you're continuously improving those services.
And that leads to even greater value creation,
Yeah.
which further solidifies your position as a trusted advisor
Right.
and a strategic partner within the organization.
It's like a positive feedback loop, just driving your PMO to higher and higher levels of success.
Exactly. It's like a snowball effect.
I'm starting to see why this guide is getting so much buzz.
It's a game changer.
It sounds like it.
But there's even more.
Okay.
Before we get lost in the mechanics of the PMO value ring,
Yeah.
we need to talk about something equally important:
Okay. What's that?
the organizational baseline elements.
Organizational baseline elements?
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
I know. It sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Okay, so think of these elements as the foundation upon which your PMO is built.
Okay.
They are the contextual factors
Okay.
that shape how your PMO operates
Yeah.
and ultimately determine its success.
So it's not enough to just have a great framework.
Right.
You need a solid foundation to build upon.
It's like building a house. You
Right.
can't just start with the roof.
You got to have that solid foundation.
You got it.
So what kind of things are we talking about here? What are these essential elements?
The guide breaks it down into 4 key areas.
Yeah.
Organization's strategy,
Mm-hmm.
its structure,
Okay.
its culture,
Okay.
and the industry it operates in.
So it's about understanding the big picture.
Yes,
Yeah.
the big picture context.
Okay, let's unpack those a bit.
Okay,
Starting with strategy, how does that play into PMO success?
so PMO can't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
It needs to be deeply aligned with the organization's overall goals and objectives.
Right, otherwise it's just like a bunch of random projects.
Exactly. You risk becoming irrelevant.
It's like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
Exactly. You said it.
You need to know where you're going before you can start laying the foundation.
100%. And the structure of the organization matters too.
Okay, how so?
Is highly centralized or decentralized?
Okay.
Are decisions made top-down or collaboratively?
Right.
Understanding the organizational structure helps you design a PMO that fits in seamlessly.
So a hierarchical organization might need like a more structured and directive PMO,
Right.
whereas a flatter, more agile organization might benefit from a more collaborative and flexible approach.
You're getting it. And then there's culture,
Culture.
which is often overlooked, but so critical.
Yeah, culture is like the invisible force that shapes everything, isn't it?
It really is. And it can make or break your PMO.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Well, is the culture risk-averse or innovative,
Okay.
collaborative or competitive?
Right.
Understanding that cultural landscape
Mm-hmm.
helps you tailor your PMO's approach and communication style.
To resonate with the organization.
Exactly. You want to speak their language?
Yeah, it's about building trust.
Yes.
Creating that sense of shared purpose.
Absolutely. And finally, you have the industry context,
Okay.
because different industries have different rhythms, different challenges, different ways of operating.
So a PMO in a fast-paced tech startup
Yeah.
is going to look very different from a PMO in like a large established government agency.
100%.
Oh.
The guide really emphasizes that
Okay.
you need to understand the industry norms,
Mm-hmm.
the regulations,
Okay.
the best practices that are relevant to your organization.
So it's about doing your homework,
Yes.
understanding the playing field,
Yes.
and making sure that your PMO is equipped to succeed within that specific context.
You got to make these organizational baseline elements.
Yeah.
They're like the guardrails
Okay.
that keep your PMO on track.
Got it.
They make sure your efforts are aligned with the bigger picture
Yeah.
and positioned for maximum impact.
It's like having a GPS for PMO success,
I love that analogy.
making sure you're headed in the right direction.
Exactly.
But I imagine even with the best GPS, you still need a well-tuned engine to get you there.
Absolutely. And that's where the guide dives into the PMO structural components,
Okay.
those essential building blocks
Okay.
that ensure your PMO is set up for success.
Okay, I'm picturing the PMO as this finely tuned machine now.
I love it.
What are these structural components?
Okay, so the guide highlights 3 key components.
Okay.
The PMO mandate,
Mm-hmm.
the PMO strategy,
Okay.
and the PMO governance framework.
Okay, let's break those down.
Let's do it.
Starting with the mandate. What exactly is that?
So think of the PMO mandate as your PMO's mission statement.
Okay.
It defines the PMO's purpose,
Mm-hmm.
its overall goals,
Okay.
and who it serves within the organization.
It's essentially the PMO's reason for being.
Exactly. It's the why.
The why.
Why does this entity exist?
Yeah.
What value does it bring to the organization?
Right, because otherwise,
Yeah.
why are you here?
Exactly. And without a strong PMO mandate,
Yeah.
your PMO lacks direction.
Okay.
It lacks purpose.
It's like setting sail without a destination in mind.
100% you might end up somewhere,
Yeah.
but it's unlikely to be where you need to be.
Exactly.
So once you have that clear PMO mandate,
Yeah.
then you can start developing your PMO strategy.
Okay, so if the mandate is the why,
Yes,
the strategy is the how.
you got it.
Yeah.
The PMO strategy outlines how you're going to achieve those goals
Mm-hmm.
that you laid out in the mandate.
Okay.
It's your roadmap for delivering value,
Okay.
defining the specific services you'll offer,
Mm-hmm.
the resources you'll need,
Okay.
and the metrics you'll use to measure success.
It's your PMO's game plan.
Exactly. It's like game on.
Right.
We're ready to go.
But like any good game plan, it needs to be flexible,
Absolutely.
adaptable, able to evolve as the organization's needs change.
It's not set in stone. It's a living, breathing document.
So it's not about creating this rigid document that gathers dust on a shelf.
No, it needs to be a living, breathing strategy
Right.
that guides your PMO's growth and evolution.
And then we have PMO governance.
Well, yes, PMO
What
governance.
is that?
This component is all about establishing the rules of engagement,
Okay.
the decision-making structures,
Mm-hmm.
and the processes
Okay.
that ensure your PMO operates effectively and efficiently.
It's about creating order out of chaos.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Making sure everyone's on the same page.
Alignment is key,
Yeah.
and that decisions are made in a transparent and accountable way.
Accountability. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Okay.
So PMO governance defines roles and responsibilities,
Okay.
outlines communication protocols.
And establishes clear escalation paths
Okay.
for addressing issues.
Got it.
Or resolving conflicts.
So it's about creating a framework for success.
Exactly.
Ensuring that your PMO operates with clarity, consistency, and accountability.
You got it.
And that brings us back full circle
Full circle.
to the PMO customer experience cycle,
Yes.
which encompasses all these elements we've been discussing.
It all ties together.
We've talked about the PMO value ring,
Right.
the importance of understanding that organizational context,
Hmm.
building a strong foundation for your PMO.
Absolutely.
But how does this customer experience cycle fit into all of this?
Okay, so the customer experience cycle,
Yeah.
it provides this holistic view of how your PMO interacts with its customers over time.
Okay.
It's not just a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing journey.
It's a journey.
It's a partnership.
So it's about building relationships.
Yes. Building trust.
Fostering that trust.
Yes.
And continuously demonstrating the value of the PMO.
100%. And the cycle itself
Yeah.
is broken down into 5 key stages.
Okay. What are they?
Exploration,
Mm-hmm.
design,
Okay.
deployment,
Mm.
enhancement,
Okay.
and realization.
Wow. It sounds like we've got a lot more ground to cover.
I know, right? It's a whole other deep dive.
This PMO customer experience cycle sounds like a deep dive all on its own.
We could talk about it for hours.
I bet we could, but I think we need to hit the pause button here.
Okay.
Give our listeners a moment to digest everything we've covered so far.
Yeah, take a breather.
It's a lot.
It is a lot to process.
This guide is really challenging the traditional view of PMOs.
It's a new era for PMOs.
And it's offering a roadmap for transforming them into these strategic powerhouses.
Exactly. PMOs are no longer just order takers.
Yeah.
They're strategic partners.
They're leading the charge.
They are shaping the future.
All right, deep dive listeners, welcome back. We're about to wrap up our exploration of the PMO Practice Guide V1.4. And I gotta say, my head is buzzing
I know, right?
with all these new PMO insights.
There's a lot to unpack.
There is, but it's all so fascinating.
It is.
We've covered so much ground,
We really have.
from the history of PMOs to the power of the PMO value ring.
That PMO value ring is a game changer.
It is, but we're not quite done yet.
Oh, we're not done.
We are not done.
Okay, I'm ready.
Remember that customer experience cycle we started talking about? We left off right as things were getting interesting.
Right on the edge of our seats.
We got to unpack those 5 stages.
Let's do it.
Exploration, design, deployment, enhancement, and realization.
It's like a roadmap for PMO customer success.
It sounds like a crash course in building lasting relationships
Is
with your PMO stakeholders.
Yeah, you know those stakeholders?
Yeah,
They can be a fickle bunch.
they can be. But this cycle really emphasizes
I'll tell you.
that PMO success isn't just this one-time achievement.
Okay.
It's about fostering
Yeah.
this dynamic, evolving partnership
Yes.
with your stakeholders.
It's a two-way street,
It is.
not just the PMO dictating everything.
Exact. Okay, so let's start with exploration.
Okay, exploration.
What does that actually look like in practice?
Okay, so imagine you're a PMO leader walking into a new organization.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you're trying to revitalize an existing PMO.
Yeah.
The exploration stage is all about understanding the lay of the land.
Okay.
What are the organization's pain points?
When it comes to project management,
What are their goals? Their aspirations?
you're gathering information,
Yes, lots of information.
listening to those stakeholders.
Active listening is key here.
Okay.
You're identifying opportunities where the PMO can add value.
So it's kind of like detective work.
Yes, be the PMO detective.
You're searching for clues
Right.
to help you understand the organization's needs and challenges.
And you might be surprised what you uncover.
Yeah. What are some of the tools or techniques that you might use during this exploration stage?
Oh, you could conduct surveys,
Okay.
hold focus groups, Even just have informal conversations with people at all levels of the organization.
Get out there and talk to people.
Exactly. The more perspectives you get, the better.
So relationship building is crucial at this stage.
Oh, absolutely. You're laying the groundwork for trust and collaboration.
Okay, so we've done our due diligence.
We've gathered our intel.
Now we're ready to start building, right?
Exactly. We're moving on to the design stage.
Okay, design stage, what happens there?
This is where you take all those amazing insights you gathered during exploration
Okay.
and you use them to craft a tailored value proposition.
For your PMO.
Yes, for your
Wow.
PMO.
Okay.
This is where you clearly articulate those specific benefits you'll deliver
Okay.
and how they align with the organization's strategic goals.
So it's like creating a PMO marketing brochure.
I love that analogy.
But instead of flashy slogans,
Right.
you're offering concrete solutions
With real problems.
to real problems that you've uncovered.
Exactly. No more generic promises.
Right.
We're talking about targeted value.
And don't forget,
Like that.
this is also where you design your services.
Right. Designing the services is key.
Taking into account the organization's culture, their structure,
Context is everything.
the industry that they're in.
Yes, you got it.
What works for a tech startup might not fly in a government agency.
No two organizations are the same.
Exactly.
You have to tailor your approach.
So no more one-size-fits-all PMO solutions.
Please, no more one size fits all. We're done with that.
Okay, we've designed our services, now what?
Now it's time to bring them to life.
Okay,
This is where deployment comes in.
deploy.
Yes, deployment, it's all about execution.
This is where we roll up our sleeves and get things done.
Exactly. Time to put those plans into action.
So you're rolling out those PMO services.
Yes, making it happen.
Communicating their value to stakeholders,
You spread the word.
providing training and support,
We want people to be prepared.
making sure that everything runs smoothly.
It's all about smooth sailing from here.
So it sounds like change management is a big part of this stage
Oh, huge.
because you're potentially introducing new processes, new
Right.
tools, maybe even shifting that organizational culture a bit.
Culture change is the hardest part,
It can be.
but so important.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
So deployment isn't just about flipping a switch.
No, it's a process.
It's about guiding the organization through a transition and making sure that everyone is on board.
We want everyone along for the ride,
Yeah.
engaged and excited about the changes.
And once those services are up and running,
We're not done yet.
we're not done yet.
Okay, tell me more.
The work doesn't stop there. We move on to the enhancement stage.
Enhancement. Okay, keep making it better.
Continuous improvement.
I love it.
It's about constantly monitoring
Okay,
your PMO's performance,
keeping an eye on things.
gathering feedback
Always asking for feedback.
from those stakeholders,
Right, because they're the ones we're doing it for.
and looking for ways to optimize those services.
Never stop improving.
So it's about making those services better over time.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, what gets measured gets managed.
I like that one.
You got to track those key performance indicators
Right? Data is our friend
to see what's working, what's not,
and where we can make adjustment.
and where you can improve.
Exactly.
So this is where data becomes your best friend.
Data-driven decisions all the way.
A mature PMO leverages data
They're data ninjas.
to track its impact,
Yes.
identify those areas for improvement, and ultimately demonstrate its value
Prove your worth.
to the organization.
Exactly. Data tells the story.
It's not just about collecting data for the sake of it.
No, it's not about vanity metrics.
You're using that data to tell a story,
Yes.
to paint a picture
Exactly.
of your PMO's contribution
Show them the value.
to the organization's success.
Make them say, wow.
Okay, so we've explored, we've designed, we've deployed, we've
Okay.
enhanced,
That is nice.
we've reached the final stage.
Tell me more.
Realization.
Ugh. Realization, the moment of truth.
This is where we get to celebrate our victories, right?
It's party time.
Pop the champagne bask in the glow of a job well done.
We earned it.
We did earn it.
But it's more than just celebration, though, right?
Right.
Okay.
Realization is about making sure
Oh, okay.
that your PMO's value
Yes.
is clearly understood
Mhm.
and appreciated
Yes. Shout it from the rooftops.
throughout the entire organization.
Everyone needs to know.
So it's about showcasing your successes,
Yes.
proving your worth,
Exactly.
solidifying that position as a trusted advisor
You become the go-to expert.
within the organization.
The PMO whisperer.
I like that, the PMO whisperer.
So in this stage, you're communicating the PMO's impact,
Okay.
sharing those success stories,
Yeah.
highlighting the tangible benefits you've delivered.
It's about proving that the PMO isn't just a cost center.
Right.
It's a strategic asset
A valuable asset.
that is contributing to the organization's bottom line.
Exactly. PMOs can drive real results.
And here's the beautiful thing
What's that?
about the customer experience cycle.
Okay.
It's a continuous loop.
Oh, I love a good loop.
Once you've achieved a certain level of realization,
Okay.
you're back to exploration.
We start again.
You're using those insights and that momentum
Keep the flywheel spinning.
to identify new opportunities
Always be on the lookout.
for value creation.
Never stop improving.
It's a journey of continuous growth and evolution
For both the PMO
to the PMO.
and the organization as a whole.
It's not just about building a successful PMO.
Right.
It's about building a PMO that's capable of adapting, evolving, and thriving
In a constantly changing world.
in a constantly changing world.
That's what makes it so exciting.
It does make it exciting.
It's always a challenge.
So for our listeners who are ready to embark on this PMO transformation journey,
Yes.
what's the one piece of advice you would give them? So as we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you hope people take away from this deep dive? If you had to sum it all up, what would you say?
PMOs can be absolute rock stars for their organizations, but they got to embrace this whole value-driven, customer-focused approach. That's the key.
And this guide gives them the tools to actually do it.
Exactly. Anyone working in a PMO or thinking about it, this should be required reading. It's that good.
I'm with you on that.
This is what I love about these deep dives.
Me too.
We uncovered these hidden gems of information, and it can totally change the game for our listener.
Absolutely.
So we got this awesome new guide coming out. But knowing PMI, they're probably not going to just quietly put it up on their website.
No way.
They're going to make a big deal out of this, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. They're planning a big reveal at PMOCon 2024.
PMO Uncon. What is that?
It's in Istanbul this December.
Istanbul. Okay, but PMO Uncon. That sounds different.
It is.
What is an unconference?
So imagine a conference, right? But instead of just sitting there listening to people talk at you, you're actually participating. You're helping to shape the agenda. You're having these dynamic conversations with PMO people from all over the world.
So like a conference, but way more interactive.
Exactly. It's all about collaborating, sharing knowledge, and really pushing the boundaries of what a PMO can be.
Wow. A global PMO party in Istanbul. Sign me up. This PMOCon, it's less like a conference and more like a movement, right?
Totally. And it really shows you how far PMOs have come. Think about it. We're talking about a community that basically started online.
With PMO.
Right, with PMO John. And now they're out here shaping the entire PMO landscape.
With PMI's help.
Exactly. It's a pretty amazing story when you think about it.
From back office heroes to strategic masterminds. What a glow up.
I know. It's kind of inspiring.
Yes.
What's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Don't be afraid.
Because the old ways of doing things, they're not enough anymore.
Okay.
Embrace those principles of the PMO value ring
Yeah.
and the customer experience cycle.
Yeah.
Become a champion for change,
Look at that champion.
a driver of value,
Yes.
a trusted advisor within your organization.
That is fantastic advice.
Thank you.
I love it. It's time for PMOs to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight.
It's their time to shine.
To become those strategic partners who are shaping the future of their organizations.
The future is bright for PMOs.
It really is. And on that inspiring note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
This was a good one.
This was a great one, listeners. We hope that this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the inspiration that you need to transform your PMO into that strategic powerhouse.
Go forth and create amazing PMOs.
Until next time.
And hey, if you're hungry for more PMO goodness, check out PMI's website. They've got all the info on the PMO Practice Guide, PMOCon, and a ton of other great resources. And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of PMOs. Until next time, stay curious.